Hello, everybody. This is Fruitbrute and Ace2020boyd here with Shift W. We're going to have a little chat-a-thon about virtual reality and will it catch on, at least within the next 5 years or so, kind of more short-term than long-term. What's up, Ace?
Hello.
What is that, like a picture finder, like a Viewmaster?
It's your advanced view bat. It's your advanced viewfinder.
Oh, an advanced viewfinder? What are you, two?
This isn't your this isn't your grandma's or your parents' viewfinder.
Oh, okay. What do you put in there
It's
anyway?
you put your phone. It's just a Google Cardboard, a better version of a Google Cardboard.
Okay.
You stick your phone in there, you lock it up, do your favorite
Let
things.
me ask you, how much did that cost you?
Like $15.
All right, okay, all right. I thought I kind of had this feeling you were gonna be like, oh, $60, and I was gonna
Oh
ridicule you a little bit.
no, it's not $60. It's extremely cheap.
Fair enough. So, Ace, you know my position on this, and I know your position on this. Whether VR is gonna catch on in the next 5 years or so. Where do you stand on this? What do you think?
I think it will. It's going to catch on within 5 years.
Why?
Um, I think once you got Oculus in. I think Oculus launches in like 2 weeks, maybe a week.
Didn't Oculus already launch?
They start releasing them in March to people. The consumer edition. The consumer edition will be out. I think to release in like a week or two, I believe. Then you have HTC Vive, powered by Steam VR, coming out in April. They start shipping April 5th, the first batch. Then I think they're gonna have a second batch in April. Then they're gonna have the May ones released in May. Uh, then I think today, well, it's 1 a.m., but March 14th, I think, March 14th or 15th, I think PlayStation is going to announce more information about PSVR because GDC is today, I believe. So we might get pricing with that. Pricing. There we go. Of that. Um, but yeah, I think like HTC and I think like Google. Another thing is like you can look up like search results, and people are looking at HTC and Oculus, and HTC is going through the roof at the moment with search results. Um, but I think VR is going to be like the snowball effect. It's going to get moving, and eventually it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as the time goes on. Going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it's going to go. It's going to start small, then once kids get out there and people start showing people, it's going to start getting bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Okay. Do you think it'll be mainstream in 5 years?
Um,
Kind of like when I say mainstream, let me kind of put it into a different context. I have no number to say what mainstream is, but mainstream means extremely popular. Most people will use it in their daily life. Um,
what about
how,
everyone talking?
I'll compare it to say like, do you think it'll be as popular as say like somebody going to buy a console, like as popular as going to buy a console in the next
Yes,
5 years?
I would say, yeah.
Why?
I think with HTC and Oculus, I don't think people are gonna be going to the store, but I think PlayStation has the best opportunity to do that
Hmm.
because they can take it at a loss, a huge loss, because that's how they do it with consoles. They take a
Aren't they
loss.
all taking a loss though?
Yeah,
I don't know if they
but
are.
PlayStation as a console manufacturer, they can lose a lot of money because they make all their money on software and people using the service, and they have other means to get that money,
Mhm.
uh, subsidized in a sense, like
So
a
you
phone.
so I don't know how many PlayStation 3s were sold. I'm just gonna use PlayStation 3 because the cycle's been gone, but it's the most recent. The cycle's over for that,
Yeah.
but it's the most recent ending. The PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 sold greater than 83 million units over the course of its lifetime.
Uh-huh.
All right, the Xbox 360 sold about 84 million in its lifetime. The Wii was 101 at
million.
more than 101 million in its lifetime. Okay.
How many? How many
The
PlayStation?
PlayStation 1, the first PlayStation, was 102 million. Okay. And the PlayStation 2 was greater than 155 million. Can you see? Okay. And that's a console cycle, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's like between
Well, that
five
generation
to
lasted
like
6 years, so roughly 6, 7 years.
yeah. Well, I mean the Xbox. Well, I think the Xbox 360 was around longer than that, but let's say
They're both
between
around.
5 to 8 years is like a console cycle. Would you agree with that?
You said 5 to what?
5 to 8 years.
Uh, the last generation, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So between 5 to 8 years or so.
I would say 6 to 8 years.
Right. So do you think within that amount of time you could see sales of upwards of 100 million?
Yes.
See, this is where we disagree. This is exactly where we disagree.
It's
I,
it.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I literally have a coworker. Like I have people at work that know I'm into VR, and there's a coworker that I work with that I've always like you should get a PC. He's like I can't because I just want things to work and consoles. But like even he brought it up to me about VR because he talked about PlayStation. 'Cause he has a lot of people have PlayStations there, and he even brought it like, no, I'm thinking, if I can, once more information comes out with the PlayStation VR, I may actually get that because that actually looks really cool.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of it right now. I don't know if it's HT because HTC just sent out literally they sent Vive pre's to YouTubers, Twitch streamers, got them to game developers, and these people are just doing streams with them and they're showing gameplay, they're showing the mixed reality stuff that you can possibly do with it, and I think that right there is literally HTC's marketing for the thing.
So
It's everywhere.
would it be safe to say that you believe it's going to reach like a console like status among gamers? Like you got to have the most recent VR, right? Uh,
Hmm.
kind of a status. I don't know. I
I
really
would,
don't.
I would make it more like the status of like iPads and phones.
Oh,
You
so
know,
you're going to go even further. Because more, I
like
think there's more iPads and phones out there than there ever have been consoles. That's my maybe. I don't
well,
know.
I'm saying like when the like right now you have the newest ones that are like you have Yakuza at 600, you have HTC Vive, the whole complete package
And
for 800.
that's the price.
That's the price. But I'm saying like once like the newer generations come out, you're gonna have those guys upgrade to the new people. Okay, they're upgrade to the new one. Then you're gonna have people who are gonna go pick up their old sets because they're gonna sell it to use that money to get the new sets. But people are
Maybe,
gonna second
maybe, maybe.
generation. And I think that's how it's gonna gain momentum is through that cycle. How pretty much phones and iPads are done.
Okay.
Here, Johnny, take this.
So,
Here, Grandma, take
so
this.
do you think it would be safe to say that you believe that it's going to become a mainstream product within 5 to 8 years because people are just going to like it?
They're gonna like it. It's gonna be a new experience. I think once people do it and they go back to playing games or seeing entertainment done as it is now, to be kind of like it's a baby's toy, you know.
Yeah, man.
I think that's how it is.
Mhm, you
I've
know,
played a couple of games and with the DK1, and I see the potential, and I think that potential is great.
man, VR might be cool and it might be interesting, and I know
I
it's in its infancy and blah 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 shit like that.
It's not a game
But when you're talking about something, and this
that.
is the first version that's out to consumers, right? You're talking be paying you must pay, you fucking must pay
Hmm.
between $600 to $800 to get that experience, and you need at least a PC that's probably like eight to eight that 800 to
But
$1,000 computer to
I
run anything that
yeah
makes it work. So that
I
means the total startup cost of getting
could
it
be
done,
around two
if
thousand
you don't have a
dollars
computer, is going to be between like 16
to two
16 to
grand.
$1,800.
Yes, but that
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 doesn't
that
sound mainstream to me.
exactly. But when you take in the fact of what I said, about people handing down sets, and so as years go by and they start releasing new headsets,
Mhm.
people are gonna buy the old sets at cheaper price. Or when they release the new set, and you got people retailers going, "Oh, we got to sell these ones, so they're on sale for $400."
So I would imagine that
People,
they're gonna have like generations of this kind of shit,
they're
right?
gonna have generate. We
Like
all know
generation
that.
two, generation three, right? Now, I'm kind of trying to. The only footing that I have to compare VR to right now is consoles. I feel like that's a good way to link the two together, right? But even though one's more of an accessory and a console is
What
a
about
game
looking at?
system, you can actually play it without it. But here's the thing, though,
What
like
about comparing it
the
to
price.
iPad?
Hold on. The prices of consoles over the years, right? They're right. They get cheaper, right? I like to use the PlayStation 3 on this one. When it came out, I think it was like $600 or some shit like that, right? And then over time, it got down to I think to eventually like 300 or something like that. Okay,
Yeah.
and that was over the course of its lifetime, right? So over the course of its lifetime, it approximately halved in price. All right.
Hmm.
Now, if you let's apply the same thing to Vive and Oculus. Let's say that halves in about 5 to 8 years, right? You're still looking at 300 and 400 bucks for an accessory. Now, by that point, hardware might be a little bit different, such that you don't need as high of a cost of a high-priced PC
Yeah.
to run it. Now, let's just say that halves as well. Let's say it's about 500 bucks to 500 to 600 bucks to have a PC that can run VR smoothly with no
Hmm.
problem at the target frame rate, so you don't get ill and puke everywhere, right?
19
So now,
frames.
yeah, right. So now you're still looking at about $1,000 startup cost if you don't have that PC.
Hmm.
Now, if I wanted to go play fucking Skyrim, but I didn't have anything in my house, and I wanted to keep things as cheap as possible, yeah, you could build a PC to do it. But I think most people would go and buy like a fucking PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, whatever they need to play the fucking game, whatever game they want. Skyrim's just because I'm playing it. but
Well,
that's 400 bucks. Who in their mind, who in their right mind would pay 400 300 to 400 bucks for a fucking accessory? And it doesn't even play games by itself.
it
That's
does.
what's going to prevent this from becoming mainstream.
Well, you can say the Gear VR is like that because it
But
is.
Gear VR is on a fucking cell phone. I mean, you can't run shit off of a cell phone unless
I
you're streaming
I
it to your cell phone
I
somehow.
actually saw. What was it? I think it was I think I saw it a couple days ago. I think it was an Unreal developer was talking about that. Talking about like VR with oh, what were they talking about? Because right now the issue is like throttling with a phone. Because once the phone gets hot,
Oh,
it's gonna
thermal
start
thermal
things
throttling. Yeah.
thermal throttling, and like there was a what was he? I think he was talking about Vulcan. Maybe I'm thinking of two different things, but um I can't remember what he was talking about. But yeah, move on.
Okay.
I can't remember.
so
Talking about like that.
so my reason that I don't think it's going to reach any kind of ubiquity or mainstream use is because of the extreme cost of it. And like I said, the only thing I have to compare it to is really consoles. I mean, I don't know about
I think
accessories.
I I think we should be comparing it to iPads. I think that we shouldn't be comparing it to consoles, but comparing it to iPads. You had, like I told you, the Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. You know,
But no, 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 no.
grandma's
iPads are essentially just little computers. VR headsets aren't little computers. And maybe Apple's not a good one to compare it to because
I
it's
think we
Apple and they
should.
always keep their prices really fucking high. Right? Android
But
tablets might be better ones to compare it to. I don't know. Either way.
but I'm
Um,
saying iPad rules the tablet market. When iPads first launched, you know, it churned and churned and churned. Once generation after generation came, people started buying previous generations, and that's how it caught on. My people have them everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
so what? They're buying secondhand shit.
They're buying the secondhand shit. You have the people like us, or people who are the enthusiasts. I guess I'm gonna say enthusiasts. that are buying these day one. The new one
Sure,
came out. I'm buying that.
sure. So, but here's another thing too,
I
right?
paid $800 for the first gen. I'm using the VR. I paid,
Sure.
say, first gen. Let's say the second gen is the newest generation of it. 4K display. Uh,
All right,
one
okay.
ThinkPad.
I gotta cut you off for a second though, man. I gotta cut you off here though, right? So a VR headset does one thing. It's just a monitor that's in your face, lets you look around. Okay, lets you
Let's
look
also
around,
add the. Let's
right?
add.
And it can add the controllers too, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
I think it
It
does.
it really, if you didn't even have the fucking controllers, you just use your mouse and keyboard anyway. So in essence, I want to focus on the VR itself, not the peripherals that come with the peripheral, because that's what it is. It's a peripheral. It's
It isn't.
peripherals on top of peripherals on top of peripherals. So anyway, an iPad, stuff like that, a tablet, they're multi-purpose computers, like mini computers. You can do a lot of other things than just play games on them. I don't think it's appropriate to compare those two things.
There
You
are
can only
monitors.
play games on the Oculus. At least we're talking about in the context of gamers.
Okay, what about people with monitors? You're buying a monitor. You can buy monitors that are 600, that are thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's true, but
What's the difference?
yeah, well, because I can buy a pretty
You can
decent
you
monitor
can
for
buy a good
$179, but I can't buy VR for $179.
right now. You can't.
Yeah, and I don't think you'll be able to in 5 to 8 years either.
You can go buy Gear VR in a
Yeah,
sense.
but how am I going to play Skyrim on my Gear VR?
There are ways you can do that. You can stream your thing to the thing, but it's not
With
logical.
out of the box support, or do I have
But
to?
but do you? Oh, they. I'll say this. Steam just announced that you can use they're launching theater mode in a sense. You can play your whole Steam library in VR.
Uh, what if it's a 2D game though?
It's like that. It's like that.
It just be like a fucking Virtual Boy.
It's like having a theater. It's like having a theater. Like you're literally playing in a room and you're playing it, and like it's for people who like you can have like for instance me and you. Like me and you are playing say we're playing our King's Quest game and we both had VR, okay? Me and you can literally be playing the game together in a virtual space on one screen
hmm
in a sense. You're in a room. It's like a theater in a sense. I haven't looked into it, but that's how I'm perceiving it to be.
Oh, I haven't really read a whole lot about that, but
Like they just announced it recently that Valve is releasing their whole library for a Steam theater, and you can play it. You
I
know,
don't. It doesn't make sense for it to catch on. The startup
I
cost is too high.
like
The only people who are going to buy it, I think, are people with nice computers that like cutting edge. I don't think it's going to go
that's
mainstream for the purpose
that
of the price of it. I mean, you barely, you
like
just don't see people dropping 4 to 600
that's
dollars, and
that's
you don't see people dropping $400 to $600 for something that's basically that can't play games on its own.
the way
Why would you buy something that can't play games on its own when you could just go pick up a PlayStation 4 or in the future a PlayStation 5 that probably costs either the same or less and play all those games on it?
I
The o-
understand. I
I will
agree,
say this though, it will become mainstream,
but
but
I'm
not
saying
within 5 to 8 years.
it
And it
will.
has to be below the price. It has to be below. I'm talking way below, at least half the price of a console.
It will.
Maybe in
The
20 years.
people are going to buy it like they buy iPads. You're gonna have us. You're gonna have the enthusiasts buy these first gens, and people are going to buy the second hands off people, and that's how they're gonna get the price lower than at $300. Say that's how it's going to catch on. Like right now, it's just gonna be the people laying down $800 or $600 or whatever how much it's gonna cost with add-ons and all that stuff. And once the newer versions come out down the line, they're going to buy that new version, sell the old version. Joe Schmo, who has the mid-range computer, is going to buy that other headset for that $200, and that's how it's going to start catching on. It's going to get that flow going. That's how it's going to happen. That's why I'm saying you can't compare it to the
Okay,
consoles.
okay, all right. So hold on. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You
Okay.
know?
No, no, I understand what you're saying. Okay. However, in the secondhand market, Oculus, HTC, they don't get any of that money back.
They're not.
So that's no incentive for them to continuously drop the price on it. And then therefore it's never going to reach a broader audience.
But once you start
Even
having,
even the people that do buy it secondhand, okay, even the people that do buy it secondhand, they have to have the computer to run it. If you don't have the computer to run it, which is most people in the world, okay, most people in the world do not have at least a 970 in their computer. Most people on Steam do, according to the Steam hardware survey, but most people in the world don't. Most people in the world use a laptop. Most people in the world will not be able to use VR in the next 5 to 8 years. It just will not be mainstream within that time.
I still think it will. I still think it will.
So you're gonna drop. So you already have a computer that can run
I do.
it, okay? But but you're telling me you're gonna drop $800 because I know you're
Yeah,
gonna buy the Vive.
yeah.
What a waste! What a waste!
I
Eight
don't think it's
hundred
a
bucks. You
waste.
could get a second
I don't
computer.
think I
You
don't.
could get a
I don't
second
think
computer. You
it's
could
not.
get a second video card and SLI that bitch. You could buy a fucking
I don't.
Titan.
I want to. I think it's me
Can you buy a
because
Titan?
I've already spent my time in VR with the DK1. I'm extremely interested in VR right now, more than you are at the moment, because you've tried my DK1 for like what, maybe 5 minutes, because of my rig at the time couldn't really handle it. Still, it can handle these low end style games. But I literally think if I have a Vive right now and I bring it to you, or you come up here and you try it for, and for willy nilly for hours, I think eventually you're gonna get sold on it. Be like, I need to get one of these eventually, because maybe I'm gonna go back to another game and
Oh,
say,
oh,
wow,
oh!
I can't play this game anymore because this style is just more intuitive than anything.
I already want to get it eventually, but there's no way. There's just no way I'm going to pay $800 for the experience, and I'm sure as shit not going to pay $400 for the experience either. I mean,
I think $400 is crazy.
we're talking about the difference. I mean, that's like a fucking down payment on a car. That's that's a like I don't know. I can't think of other things to compare it to, but
I think I
that's a
think
very sizable chunk for what's essentially a monitor sitting on your face that lets you look around the world. I just don't think the mainstream is going to jump on $800 to $400, and I
they will
if it gets
definitely
to
jump on.
$400 in 5 to 8 years,
They
it
will
might.
definitely jump at $400.
Not mainstream.
Yeah, they will. $400, people would have jumped on it day one. It's evident when Oculus announced their price. People were like, I'd buy it at 350, $400, because that's what you told us was gonna be. But ballpark. But that's what people were willing to pay that money on VR. You know, people are going to want it, but can't have it. But eventually they will get it.
Why can't they have it?
The price is going to be steep, but as it goes time,
Why? So they can't have it because it's too
it is expensive. Yes, it
expensive.
is.
Right. They can't have it because
For
it's
people
too
who for
expensive.
for people who have either yet to try it, but people who have the enthusiasts who have tried it and invested already into it. Because you can technically say, go buy a DK1. They're $350. Go buy a DK2 for
But this is
350.
but this is the whole crux of the argument where I'm saying it's not going to be mainstream, but you're saying but it will be because of the enthusiasts. Brand, the enthusiasts aren't the mainstream.
The enthusiasts will buy the units, and once new units come out, you're going to have the first gen units go down in price because the second units are coming out. Those users are going to buy those units, sell their old units, while retailers are also selling the first gen units at a lower price or a sale price, whatever they're going to do. That's when people are going to start to snatch those ones up. The enthusiasts are going to move to the next gen, use that. Then once that newest generation comes out again, you're gonna have the users who bought the Gen 1 sell the Gen 1s, buy the Gen 2s from the enthusiasts at the time, and go buy Gen 3. It's how it's gonna get that snowball effect. At that time, there's already users right now who have capable machines. The gamers. They're going to eventually buy those secondhand units and use it. That's how I see it work. It's going to work.
Do you hear that typing?
I hear the typing. I don't know what you're typing. You're probably going to try to say something. You're wrong.
Well, I'm not saying that you're
Objection.
wrong. Where the fuck is
That's how it's
the
going to.
video card? Woo-hoo. Where is the video card? Where is the video card? OS, RAM, Intel CPU speeds, VRAM, primary display resolution.
There's a video right now on Linus Tech Tips. They're actually doing a better job because technically the Steam
Oh,
Harbor
the one with Luke talking about how he wants to like get rid of people's multiple computer profiles on Steam.
Yeah.
No, that's stupid. Because with the no. See, I don't understand why he's doing that. It doesn't make any sense.
Because you have people out there like them who have Steam on multiple machines that are also uploading Steam hardware results that are test benches and multiple machines, and it's not your current rig. It's not the rig you're running it on.
But the Steam hardware survey isn't about people. It's about computers. It's about all the
Yeah,
computers that it connects to. Okay, what's their hardware stats? So if he wants to filter out who's going to be buying it, or how popular it's probably going to be, or who's going to be able to do it more
he's seeing how many machines
accurately,
are capable of doing it currently right now through the community.
so then the best way to do it would just be to use the Steam survey because it's just all the machines. If it's why filter out the machines?
My machine can change all. I built a new machine, correct, right now. Still has my 970. I had a previous machine, my previous motherboard, all that shit had the 970. Right now, my Steam account is like, hey, you got two things, so you have built a new machine. Now you got 970.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. It's not saying, oh, nothing. Your GPU hasn't changed since these hardware changes. So let's keep it at that one and count you as one, not two separate hardware surveys that went
But
up.
it's not counting you, it's counting the computers.
Yes, it should be counting me.
But you're not a computer. It can't measure you.
I know, but it should.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
The Steam hardware survey should be like an update. Like it should be a database. It's gonna redo your thing. It's gonna take the survey and calculate your thing and say, oh, we see these hardware changes, but your 970 still stay the same. We'll update that to be your current system. So nothing. The data is not
But what if
skewed.
they okay, so let me do that because I saw the video that Luke did on LTT. But I'm a little curious. What's that supposed to prove? What's the big fucking deal?
He's trying to see how many machines of users actually have a capable machine. That's
Okay,
all.
so let's say Luke. I think Luke said he had 6 or 7 computers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if his goal was about how many machines are capable of running it, wouldn't he want all of his machines to be reported to Steam because only one of his machines can do it? So one of his 6 computers can do it, and that's a relevant statistic.
He's taking the statistic of because he's got test bench. He's using test benches. You have all those tech people out there that are using test benches that can make multiple machines.
Yeah,
He's
but you
using
don't but you don't have to submit information to a survey, to the Steam hardware survey, unless you go opt into it. So that means at some point he built a test bench and he fucking clicked opt in on the fucking thing. So that's his fault.
maybe I don't know
No,
how.
there's no maybe about it. The only way you get into the Steam survey is if you opt into it.
I don't know. We'll
Either
see.
way. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. We're working on a half hour. I said 20 minutes. I clearly don't see it happening in 5 to 8 years due to the startup cost to get into VR gaming. If you follow a trend of the consoles and how they typically go between, typically have from the beginning to the end of their life cycle in terms of price for the most part. You know, um, um, VR still wouldn't be at the right price to get a mainstream audience, to get out of the enthusiast market. That's right. There are some people who would buy secondhand stuff and
That's
use
how it's
that.
going to be done.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be mainstream. Mainstream, Brandon, people don't buy secondhand. People buy new,
People
right?
go to
Oh,
Apple and buy
I'm just wrapping up
refurbished.
my side. I'm gonna let you wrap up your side in a minute. Just chill, fish. Okay, right? I'm wrapping it up here. All right. Just give me a second, right? I see this as more of an economic thing. I don't think any person in their right mind, right? That's a typical consumer,
Hmm.
right? That doesn't consider themselves a gamer, okay? And I'm not talking some fucking retard who plays Candy Crush on their phone being counted as a gamer because they're not going to play VR because they clearly don't have a fucking computer that can run it. If you're a person who plays Candy Crush on your phone all the time, or consider that kind of gamer, right? Now, why would they go ahead and spend the money to get a rig that can run it? Currently, it's maybe about $8,000 to $1,000. 5 to 8 years from now, maybe it'd be more like $600. I don't know, right? But that's a possibility. Even then, you're looking at a startup cost of like $1,000.
Yeah.
And you can just go to the store right now and probably in the near future buy a PlayStation 4, play the games that you want to play. Startup costs $400 plus the start plus any games, as
Hmm.
opposed to $1,000 plus the games, right? And the
Yep.
headset. Don't think it's going to get mainstream in 5 to 8 years. The only way it's going to get mainstream is if it drops down to a price that's well below the consoles themselves. You wrap up.
All right. I still believe it will. It's going to get mainstream in 5 to 8 years due to people like iPads. If you just buying the first gen, that's pretty much how it's going to be done. Once the newest gen comes out, they sell those units. Oculus and HTC, they're probably going to be selling those refurbished units. They're going to earn money that way as well. But that's how I think it's going to happen. It's going to trickle down, and that's how it's going to gain mainstream. You have also Gear VR out there, but I don't know how it's going to work. But I believe that's how it's going to work. It's going to have like the Apple iPad effect, secondhand units. That's how I think it's going to happen.
All right, and the last word from both of us, all right, or well, not from both of us, only one like it's the last word, but the last thing that we'll say is I'm going to make a prediction. You're going to make a prediction. First year sales of VR. I'm talking Oculus, Vive.
All combined.
Now let's just do Oculus and Vive because I don't think Samsung the VR gear is going to really go
I mean,
anywhere.
Oculus, HTC, and PlayStation.
No, let's keep play. I want to do the ones that are just for the PC.
Just the PC.
What do you think their sales numbers at the end of the year are going to be? Not
Both.
this year, but one full year of them being in production and being available to the public.
Um, for HTC and Oculus combined, I think they're gonna at least do 500,000 to 1,000,000. That's my prediction. Both of them combined.
Okay.
And yours?
I think it's going to be more like 500,000.
So 500,000.
And that's the maximum. I think it's going to be, I'm going to give a range, right? I think it's going to be between 250 to 500,000.
Okay. So we do both meet in the middle.
Or I could pull a Price is Right and say one bob.
One bob. You win.
Fucking, there you go. Shift W.
What are you?